Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be sharing with you how to get an internship as an international student. So if you're an international student from China, from India, from Pakistan, from Nigeria, Ghana, Taiwan, wherever it is around the world that you're watching me from and you desire to school in the United States or you're currently a student in the United States, you should be watching this video. I would also be answering some questions that I got based off my previous video on how I secured an internship at Microsoft in the US while I was in my home country, Nigeria. If this interests you, definitely keep watching. The very first thing that you need to be doing as an international student is to be proactive. You need to be proactive, and if you're watching this video, kudos to you. This is actually a step in the right direction. It shows that you really want to learn about how to get an internship, right? So please keep watching till the very end of this video to get all the nuggets. Now, the second thing is to work on your online presence. What does that mean? So I'm not talking about your social media, Facebook, Instagram. I'm talking about your professional online presence. That is LinkedIn, right? So if you have not already created a LinkedIn account, you absolutely should. You should go on LinkedIn, create your profile, update it with details around your work experience, your volunteer experience, your education, and any recommendations or certifications that you may have. After that, you should begin to look for people in the industries that you're looking to get an internship with to connect with them. Now, how do you do this? You go on LinkedIn, in the search tab, put in any company that you desire to work in. So let's say Microsoft. You type that in the search bar, it opens, you click on Microsoft, the company or the organization. And from there, you'd see options like about, products, posts, jobs, live, people, events, things like that. You should just be going into the people section. When you click on people, then you can use filters to decide what locations these people that you're looking for are working, or what schools they attended, or what roles they are working in. It is basically that simple. I would always say that when you're connecting with someone on LinkedIn, you shouldn't just click on the connect button, right? You should put a well thought of, short, crisp, concise message telling them about why you are connecting with them and requesting for time. That's if you want to, requesting for time to speak with them. That gives a lasting impression about yourself, and it also gives you an opportunity to learn about their role. The third thing you need to get sorted is your resume. Now, if you are a graduate student in the United States, you should know that your resume should follow the standardized one-page format, right? I would link in the description a template that I created for you to download if you haven't already made your resume in the standardized format, for you to download and then to edit your resume to capture all the work that you have done throughout your experience time. The fourth thing that you should also be getting set is a cover letter. I know that many people do not like to write cover letters because they think it's an additional stress or an additional workload, but you can simply use one format and edit it to suit a new job application that you are working on. So for instance, my cover letter typically has 4 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, I talk about the role that I'm interested in and give a summary about the company and why I'm interested in that role. In the second paragraph, I introduce myself and go in depth about some work that I have done in the past that is on my resume. But I do not just leave words out of my resume into my cover letter. I revamp the story and just tell it in a way that it's more relatable and it's shorter than the description that I put in my resume. For the third paragraph, I also do another short story about something that I find would be a skill that is relevant to the role that I'm applying for. The fourth paragraph, I close it up mentioning my interest in the particular role and giving my contact details. Easy peasy, really, easy peasy. So anytime you're applying, you basically need to edit the first and the third paragraph to suit the application that you are making. Now, the fifth thing is networking. After you've identified some companies that you'd like to work with or work for, and some roles that you'd also want to work in, like I said, use LinkedIn, use the power of LinkedIn to find people that are already working in those roles, either people from your school or people that you've just searched out randomly on LinkedIn. Begin to make those connections happen. Now, when you are networking with somebody, when you get to the point of actually scheduling a meeting with them to speak with them, make sure that you make it worth their while. Come with your questions. There's something that is often overlooked, and I must tell you, as an international student that has been here for almost 2 years, it is the likability factor. People have to like you. And how does that happen, right? It depends on how conversational you are, how enthusiastic you are to asking the questions that you have, and summarizing everything that they tell you, or the action points that you are able to deduct from the conversation. Finally, after carrying out any of these steps, it doesn't necessarily have to follow the sequence. What you should do, again, is to go to the careers website of either of these companies that you have identified as the ones that you want to work with. Go into their careers website and search if they have an internship opening. Based on the conversations that you've had with the people you've networked with, you would have an idea of when they open up, of when they will be opening up recruitment slots, or when they will be opening up application cycles, either for the summer, for the spring, or for the winter internship. So that's why it's very important for you to have those networking conversations ahead of your application. Don't forget to hit like on this video if you have not liked it at this point. Please hit like on this video. If you're new to watching my channel, definitely subscribe for more information like this and for more details on my journey as an international student in the United States. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the second part of this video, which is the question and answer section based off the video that I previously uploaded, which was how I secured an internship at Microsoft all the way from Nigeria. If you have not watched that video, you should totally pause this video now and go into that video to watch it, or you should have it queued down to watch after this one. Now, the first question that I got was this: what is the salary range for interns? I'd say that it depends. It depends really on the company, the role, the industry, the time, the experience that the intern brings to the table, really. So it can range between $20 per hour to as high as $60 per hour. I'm not able to give an exact figure right now, but if you have a role, a specific role in mind at a company, just go on Glassdoor and put that in. You'd see how much the company pays their interns, or simply just Google it. You'll find more specific data there. Now, the second question is this: I have been running a business for a couple of years. How do I present my experience on my resume? Okay, so running a business is actual professional experience. I don't know how to say this enough. People ask me that question every time. I know people in my MBA program who right out of university just went into business, right? And that's like the only experience that they have, and it's valid because they did actual work. They were managing businesses. Many times it's because we do not know how to package and articulate our stories. There are so many things that you're doing as a business owner that is very professional that you would not count as professional because you're the one that is doing it without supervision. But if you think back on your impact in the business that you have run, or feedback that clients have given you, or the growth trajectory that you have experienced within the time frame that you ran the business, those are things that you could articulate on your resume. So if you have just business experience, you can definitely put that as professional experience on your resume. Okay, so this third question is closely related to the second question because it's a resume question. So it says, how do I create a result-driven resume? Now, this question is coming from how I mentioned in my previous video that you need to have metrics, numbers on your resume. One thing to think about, in putting numbers on your resume, right, you need to think about, okay, for instance, the work that we did, was there a budget? If there was a budget, you can name job, you can say what it was, or you can give an estimate of it. Now, were there numbers related to the event? Was that the first event that was occurring? Was it the second one? Has it been reoccurring without any significant difference or improvement in it? And put that in number form on your resume as well. Another thing to think about is the revenue. So through the work that you did, was there any revenue generated, or 1 million naira or $1 million? I said $1 million. $1 million or 200,000 or anything, right? If there's revenue generated or cost incurred that was significantly reduced, you can put that on your resume. Another thing to think about was if there was a growth trajectory. So something moved from 20% year-on-year profit to 60% year-on-year profit. That is like a metric that you can also put on your resume, which is closely related to another thing that I just talked about, which is like a percentage change. So was there a percentage change? Like, okay, maybe the costs you were incurring were 60% of revenue previously, but now through the work that you did, it had reduced significantly to about 35%, something like that. Now, finally, another thing to think about is, was there money raised in the course of the work, right? If there was money raised, you can put that on your resume as well. So that's kind of how you can just put some numbers, chip some numbers in the descriptive line on your resume. The fourth question is this: how do I know companies that accept MBA interns? The truth is, here in America, like almost all the Fortune 500 companies accept interns. MBA, grad school, like many of them accept interns, but it just depends on how much you are checking their careers website, or how much you are networking with people in the recruitment side of those companies, right? You may not know if they don't put an opening out publicly. Sometimes some of these openings are discussed internally, and people recommend people internally. But if you start to network with people in the companies that you are looking to work with or work for, then you are doing something right, and you'll be able to get all the information on when they're going to open up their recruitment portal. So the answer to your question is, like, many companies here in the United States actually accept interns. You just need to check and try. Now, the next question is closely related as well. It says, how do I find companies that sponsor? Okay, now there are a couple of websites where you can check the list of companies that sponsor. I'll put that on the video. But then there's something else, another resource that I found that is very helpful for an international student who is not sure, who is trying to apply to a job on LinkedIn and is not sure whether the company recruits international students or whether the company sponsors international students to work. There's an add-on extension called H1B Checker. Just Google H1B Checker, right? You'd find how to download that add-on. Now, what this simply does is it will be added to your browser. And when you click on LinkedIn or Indeed.com, right, and you open up a company's page or the company's profile, and you see a job that you want to apply to, when you click on it, and you click on the job type, you would see information about whether the company sponsors or not. So for instance, when you have the add-on on your browser, if you just type in product manager jobs in the search field, any option that you see, for instance, I just typed in product manager jobs and I can see product manager on TikTok. Underneath it, I can see that TikTok did file H1B in the last couple of years. So that means they sponsor, right? So that's like a quick check on how to find out if companies actually sponsor international students to work. Now, the next question is this: how do you answer the question on if you are authorized to work? So when you are filling out a job application, many times companies want to know if students would be eligible to work with them. So they will ask the question, are you authorized to work in the United States? The answer as an international student is yes. Yes. Are you authorized to work? Yes. The next question you probably see is, would you require sponsorship to work? The next answer to that as well is yes. So that way you're telling them that you have work authorization, right, as an intern, because you are going to be applying for CPT through your school and you're going to be getting it, right? But for full-time work, you would be needing H-1B sponsorship from them. So the answer to both questions is yes. Okay, to my final question in this Q&A video, and let me know if you have any more questions for me in the comment section. So definitely, if there's anything that I said that you're not clear about, you need more clarity on, or that you're just not sure of, definitely write it in the comment section. And also let me know where you're viewing my video from, what part of the world you're viewing it from. Just introduce yourself in the comment section and write it out, and I'll be there connecting with you. Okay, don't forget to like this video if you have not. Now the final question is this: what are the sample questions to ask an interviewer during an internship interview? There are a couple of questions. The first thing that I typically always ask before I go into like more detailed questions is to ask them about my interview and say, oh, is there any question that you would like me to shed more light on, right, before I ask you more questions? So with that, you're giving them an opportunity to look back on the answers that they have received from you and, you know, pinpoint anything that they have probably marked you down on, or they felt like you didn't give them an adequate response to what they asked you. So ask them, is there any question that you would like me to provide more details on or to shed more light on, right? That's like always the very first question for me. The next thing is I would always ask them, because at the beginning of the video, at the beginning of the interview, they will have introduced themselves saying, oh, they are XYZ working in XYZ role. So I would ask them about their role. Okay, so what's a day in the life of a, let's say it's a product manager? What's a day in the life of a product manager like? What's your typical day like, right? I would also ask them about like what success means to them on this role. So this role that I'm applying for, you have seen other interns, you know, work in this role. What does success mean to you? How do you define a successful internship? That way you are letting them tell you what is required on the role, right? Or what the KPIs of the role are. Another question you can ask them is about the company culture. So now, don't just go and ask them, so what's the company culture like? Say something like, oh, I read that, or I heard that at your company, it's XYZ way. What do you think about this? What is the company culture really like in this regard? That way, you are letting them know that you have done your background work and you just want to hear what their perspective is on the company's culture. Another question you can pose at them is this: what are the biggest challenges of this role? Because, I mean, every role comes with its perks and its challenges, right? So based off the, and they may not know if they do not, if they are not in the same team that you're applying to. So I mean, you will have found that out from when they introduce themselves at the beginning of the interview. So you can ask them, if they're not in the same team as what you are recruiting for, you can ask them for the biggest challenges on their own role. Another question you can ask them is this: how do you measure success on your team? How do you measure the success of every team member? Then you can close it up with a light question like, what do you like the most about working at XYZ company? That way you're just building rapport and making sure that the conversation ends on a very light note. I hope you found this very insightful. If you did, please hit like on this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. And if you know any international students around you that needs to hear of this, definitely please share it with them. Thank you for watching my video again, and see you in my next video. Bye.